This is All Things Ansys, a podcast from the technical support staff at PADT, episode 100, a celebration of our 100th episode. Welcome, I'm Eric Miller, one of PADT's 3 owners, and unbelievably, your host for 100 episodes of the All Things Ansys podcast. This week, we are going to do things a bit differently, skipping our normal topic and focusing on this milestone episode and then talking with most of the team at PADT that sells and supports the Ansys products. We started this podcast in July of 2017 because we had just started selling Ansys in Southern California and thought a good way to reach Ansys users in Southern California is to be in their ear while they're stuck in traffic. Well, that didn't seem like such a good idea after thinking about it for a while, but once we started thinking about the whole idea of a podcast, we saw it as a great way to share our obsession with everything Ansys with a wider audience, and a little bit different audience, hopefully, than our blog reaches. So we set out to publish every other week, and we have kept that up, except for the big gap that was the second quarter of 2018, when we were kind of reconfiguring the whole format. In 2019, we did 26 episodes, we did 25 in 2020, and we're on track to do 25 in 2021. So we've been pretty consistent about that. We started off with pretty bad sound in the beginning, and hopefully now it has progressed to just okay sound. I'm not sure we will ever go professional sound and editing wise. We feel like this is really a conversation amongst friends, and a little distortion and background noise amongst friends really doesn't matter as much as just getting the content out on time. If anyone is curious, we've been using the following process for the last 2 years or so. We record the interview for the episodes in Microsoft Teams. I write and record the introduction, news, and conclusion, usually the Friday, Saturday, and often on the Sunday before it goes out. I then use Adobe Audition to slice and dice the various audio chunks, throw some so-so filters on them, and write out an MP3. Then Trevor takes that file and publishes it to Podbean, which distributes it to all the podcasting sites and keeps track of our downloads and such. I put about 2 hours into each episode, sometimes 90 minutes, and sometimes 2.5 hours. Depends on how long the interview recording is, really determines how much time we spend on each episode. Most of the credit for this podcast goes to our producer, Trevor Rubinoff. He's taken on the task of keeping us on schedule, lining up all the interviews with people, and coordinating our topics with other marketing campaigns so it all fits together. He's the reason we made it to 100. We're all engineers here, so we all like numbers. Let's look at some statistics over the past 99 episodes. We have had, as of Monday, I'm recording this Monday, November 1st, and so far we've had 31,566 downloads. That's the 318 per episode. No, it's nowhere near the latest true crime podcast on iHeartRadio, but for our little world of Ansys, it's a great number. Our most downloaded episode is our interview with Dr. John Swanson, the founder of Ansys. That's no surprise there. It's at 957 downloads, and we'll probably hit 1,000 soon. The next 5 most popular are our first episode, which was on the 31st of July, was released in 2017, and it's at 783 listens. Episode 3, which was on Ansys customization, has 676. Episode 16, which was about kind of the reconfiguration of the podcast after it had been on hiatus for a while, and on Ansys Mechanical 19.1 has 497. Then an episode about getting better convergence and hidden gems in the Ansys product family. That one, which was also in 2017, had 466 listens. And then episode 12, which was a look at Ansys 19, and I recorded that one in New Mexico, has 442 downloads. So these are all relatively early episodes. They're in 2017, 2018, which makes sense because over time people go back and listen to older episodes, and they've been out there longer. Our most popular episode in 2019 was, of course, the one from John Swanson. In 2020, episode 54 was released, and it was about CFD, and we were talking about fluid dynamics with Robin Knowles. And the most popular one in 2021 so far was our Introduction to Ansys 2021 R2 with 300 downloads. So Podbean only keeps location information for 2 years. So if we want to know who's listening, we have to look at data from October 31st, 2019 to October 30th, 2021. And it turns out that 54.39% of you are in the US. So that says, kind of cool, 46% of you are overseas, which makes us happy because of the global reach of this podcast. The top 5 countries are 8% in Germany, close to 9% actually in Germany, 3.3% in Canada, 2.8% in the UK, 2.3% in France, and 2.1% in India. Those 5 countries add up to 17.26, so the remaining 28% comes from dozens of different countries. There's quite a few that have 1 or 2 listeners. So which podcast services are people listening to the podcast through? Well, 39.5% of them listen through Apple. And what's unusual about our podcast is most of our listeners listen to it online using their browser. So Chrome is 12% of our listeners, and 4.8 use a program called Podcast Addict, which I'm not familiar with. And then Google Podcasts is 3.9, and Overcast, which is actually the one I use, is 3.8. So that's it for the statistics. Hopefully you found that interesting. We like to look at these numbers and things like that. So let's move on to our interview session today. We were lucky enough to be joined by the majority of the sales and support team at PADT. Many of the people you'll hear are regular guests on the podcast. Some may be new to you. Let's take a listen and get to know them. Welcome, everybody, to this very special conversation as part of our 100th episode of the All Things Ansys podcast. And I'm happy to be joined by a fairly good percentage of our Ansys team here at PADT. As a listener, you should know that PADT is an elite Ansys channel partner. We've been doing this since 1937. We've been doing this for 27 years and since 1994. It's been a really important part of my career and my life, like kind of bleeding over into things, and just being involved with the world of Ansys. And I thought it would be great for everybody to get a chance to meet as much of the Ansys team here at PADT as could make it onto the call and get to know them a little bit better, and also help let them share what they like about being part of the Ansys world. And I'll kick it off by saying when I really look back on it, and I've done a lot with Ansys through the years, it's been the people. It's, for whatever reason, it attracts really smart, funny, capable human beings, and I can't say that I've had a bad time. Everywhere I go, everything I do, whether it's sales related or tech support related or user related, I've met fantastic, wonderful people, and it's been a great part of my career and my life. So we'll go ahead. Heather actually has to go to a meeting, so we'll start with Miss Dean.
Hey, everybody, this is Heather Dean. I am the Ansys account manager for Utah and Colorado. I'm based in Utah. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons I love what I do is because I get to be a part of companies that are basically changing and pushing things into the forefront of technology, utilizing world-class technology of Ansys. So I get to be a part of companies that are from anything from like aerospace, who are continually pushing the boundaries of our presence in space, to medical device companies that are essentially enhancing the quality of life for people around the world. And I get to be a part of that. So it's pretty fun. It's never boring. It's always different. And I'm really glad that I get to play a role in some of these transformative businesses.
That's great. It's funny because when we interview people, we tell them, you'll get exposed to a variety of companies here at PADT, and they all go, oh, yeah, everybody says that. No, you will. It's the best, one of the best parts. Awesome. So, Ahmed.
Okay, so my name is Ahmed Fayad. I've been PADT 7 years now, and I deal with anything IT related when it comes to Ansys installs, setups, licensing, high performance computing, weird glitchy IT security stuff. So that's my domain. When engineers are about to have a nervous breakdown because they can't meet the deadline because it's not working, that's where I jump in. So Interesting things. I don't want to repeat Heather, but again, some of our customers are up to really awesome things, and it's kind of interesting to talk to a customer while we're waiting for something to load, and then a few weeks later you see a piece in the newspaper talking about it. Who reads a newspaper? Online, sorry.
So true. Yeah, it is really cool to see things out there in the real world that you know something a little bit about. Awesome. Well, one of our newest employees, Alex, please share.
Hey, I'm Alex Moody. As you said, I'm a recent addition to PADT. I've been here about 1 month now. Before working here at PADT, I was on the user side. I used HFSS for about a decade. And so I would say my favorite thing about Ansys is actually being a user of the simulation software and seeing my design be manufactured and measured and seeing those curves line up between simulated and measured. I always took a lot of satisfaction out of a simulation well done. So I would say that for me, that's the best part.
There's always that sweaty palm moment before you look at the results and see if they match, and it always feels good when they do. I hear you. Brian.
Yes, hello. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. My name is Brian Bassler, and I am an account manager covering Arizona and New Mexico. I'm fairly new to PADT and Ansys. I'm in about 3 months. And one of the things that is interesting to me is I've never been exposed to the physics that we work with. So I'm learning a lot more about mechanical and electrical and fluids and how they work within very large organizations, and why the Ansys is so successful within them. Another key point is my employment at PADT and the support I get. At any given time when Ansys comes up, we have the response very quickly to be able to have these technical conversations and move things much quicker than they normally will. And finally, like I said, the diversity of companies, a lot of them are fairly new to me in understanding what they're actually doing. So I'm learning every day.
Great. It's great to have you guys on the team. And speaking of not new, Doug.
Yeah, my typical pitch when I'm meeting people on a sales call is I've been at PDT for a non-continuous 15 years, just because I stopped doing math. So yeah, my name's Doug Otis. I'm the application engineering manager. So I'm involved in anything from tech support to pre-sales activities. Yeah, kind of leave it at that. And I'll apologize right now. I got that flu vaccine yesterday, and I am dying today. It is pretty incredible what it has done to me. So, but as far as being in the Ansys world, I'll give you two things. One is it's almost like watching customers grow up. So being engaged on both the pre-sale side, there's several accounts I've watched, kind of grow up from asking, real softball questions where I feel like a real hero to then stumping me routinely with questions where I have no idea and requires quite a bit of digging and, actual math in order to figure out what's going on. So, that's one of my favorite things is just kind of seeing the progression of, people that enter this realm and just really kind of take off and run with it. And the other thing is just, from a philosophical standpoint, at the end of the day, there's probably 10 or 11 fundamental equations for everything that we're doing. And it's really just like chaos theory, like Jurassic Park water dripping on the back of your hand. Which way it goes dictates, this little kind of niche application and tying all those together. So, F equal KX, but, you start going down into the composite realm and there's all these different ways that you can approach things. You start going down the additive route. There's all sorts of different ways. And so, it's kind of funny, seeing the similarities, between all these different applications. So those are my two things.
That's awesome. I never thought about it that way. That's really cool. I do like that. Awesome. Next is Eric Coder.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can.
All right, great. Thanks for having us on here today, Eric. This is Eric Coder, based in Colorado. I'm coming up on 4 years here with PADT as an account manager. My role growing from previously covering Colorado and New Mexico to now handling mostly the national labs, which has been just tremendously I'm very appreciative of the fact that I get to work with such cutting edge entities, if you will. I mean, everything that we talk about happening downstream in the commercial space all sort of builds out of some crazy idea somebody had and explored at one of these national labs, and Ansys is cutting edge technology to be used to create these cutting edge products and things that are going to, save the world someday. So it's really awesome to be a part of that. And it gets no better than selling the tools that we do, because they can't be beat. The fidelity can't be matched. The accuracy to the real world can't be matched. And so I know every time I put a new piece of technology in a customer's hands that I'm giving them the absolute best. And that's just a really satisfying feeling to take home at the end of the day as a salesperson.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I always like to say it's always nice to be selling a product that actually works as well as the Ansys products do and add as much value as they do. It's enjoyable. Yeah.
Totally.
Good. Well, thanks. Thank you very much. And I scrolled. Where am I? Mr. Sanford.
So this is Jim Sanford. I have the greatest job in the world, and I'm pleased to have it. I get to lead an exciting and sometimes excitable team of people dealing with the best technology and clients on the planet. And so we happen to live in a beautiful part of the world. We happen to be fortunate enough to be doing the job that we do. Every single thing that we do is interesting. Every day is a different day. And we get to represent some of the absolute best technologies available to anybody, to some of the greatest clients there are. And it's my honor to do so. Happy to be a PDT, happy to be an Ansys partner, glad to be in this ecosystem, and couldn't be more happy with the team.
Yeah, well, we're great having you on board, and we love the journey we're on and where it's headed. It's been fantastic. It's going to be fantastic. It's really great. Joe Woodward, you've got a little ... next to your name. Oh, there it is. So Joe, yes, you're there.
I'm Joe Woodward. I'm senior mechanical engineer and lead trainer here at PADT. Been with PADT for 20 years now, continuous, like Doug. Ansys for me, I realized I've been using it for 25 years, which I can now say is more than half my life. And for me, it's been my whole career. I started my first day at Rocketdyne. They handed me a stack of Ansys scripts for Ansys 5.4 and said, here, go learn it. And it's been a great journey ever since.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I think Ord, who's joined us, and I both remember meeting you at that first employer of yours a long, long time ago in Los Angeles. Fantastic. Sticking with the J's here, Josh Stout.
Hey, Eric. Yeah, so I'm Josh Stout, and I'm a support and application engineer here at PADT. Technically, I'm with the systems business unit, although I kind of fit in and do all sorts of things just depending on what we need. I think that's pretty typical for most of our support engineers, really. So I'm coming up on 2 years. I don't remember if I already said that. So I'm still relatively new here, although I'm kind of growing into my role at this point. And I would say, really, this whole Ansys thing has been a great opportunity for me to just continue my sort of ongoing education and development as an engineer. There are all kinds of resources available to me, whether that's through Ansys documentation or all the engineers that I work with here, or even customers who are giving us interesting and unique applications to look at and learn about. Mm-hmm. So there's always something new going on, always a new opportunity to learn and develop and improve all sorts of things. So it's been exciting.
Yeah, and it's been great to have you. And Josh may have blocked it from his memory, but he interned for us for a little bit as well when he was in school. And something else that's kind of unique about Josh that I'll mention for him is that his dad was actually a user of Ansys, I think before maybe even I or Ward were at Motorola. And It's great to see a second generation of engineers grow and prosper. And it's been great to have both of you part of our journey through the years.
Well, he certainly played a large part in influencing me to be an engineer and then to interface with PADT. So I'm grateful for the connections.
All righty. We'll move on to Kang Lee.
Hello, this is Kang Lee, and I am an application engineer here at PADT, focused on low-frequency electromagnetics. So I'm kind of new here at PADT, and what I like most for the part of and
Oh, we lost Kang. Can you guys hear him?
So the best part being part of the PADT and the Ansys family is that I can always have opportunities to work with or learn from other engineers at PADT and Ansys who are very great. And also we often can work with customers to help them with designs which are very interesting and sometimes even crazy. So to be part of this.
Yeah, it's been great having you here because your area of expertise is one that we don't have a lot of other people who know a lot about. So it's been fantastic to have somebody that's really an expert in your area help us out and help our customers out. And can't wait to see what more we do in that physics as time goes by. Yeah. Cool. Mike, are you there?
Hi, this is Mike Forsum. I'm an account manager in Northern California, and I've been with PADT for 6 months and in the Ansys world for about 10 years. And Ansys is a great product, but it relies on a lot of support. And I think one of my pleasures of working here is the quality of people that we have on board.
Yeah, many of you may know Mike from his previous life with Ansys, so we're great to have him on board with us, and really excited to have him representing us there in my old stomping grounds in Northern California. Moving on to Miles Atkins.
Hey, I'm Miles Atkins. I am a thermal fluids engineer. I've been with PADT for just about 4 years now. I do a little bit of systems modeling, a little bit of CFD, a little bit of thermal transport, and honestly, that's like the best part about working with these Ansys tools and working at PADT is that I get to have a lot of variety and work on a bunch of different applications for different customers and different industries, and it's just every day is a new day with new projects, and it really keeps things interesting.
Yeah, but we can't talk about it here, but we were just talking about one of those products before we started the recording, and I just find it fascinating. Such a cool application. And Miles also alluded to it, but I'll point out the fact that he's also our technical FlowNex expert. And for those of you out there in the Ansys world that are looking at using FlowNex with Ansys or even FlowNex standalone, comes highly recommended as a resource for you. So it's been great to see that product grow along with the Ansys products. Robert McCatherine, I think you're not the furthest east. I think that what's your name? Alex is in Virginia, right? So you're in Texas.
Yeah, he beat me with that one. So, I'm Rob McCatherine. I'm a mechanical application engineer. I've been with PADT for about 3 years, and prior to that, I was an Ansys user for well over a decade, working on the on structural design of offshore ships and other offshore structures. So it's been really interesting for me to be on the other side of things, because when I first started learning Ansys, it was very much so a trial by fire, because my employer that I just started with way back in the day just bought Ansys and said, okay, let's get some volunteers to do it, and pretty much anybody who's new was got to do it. And so I was actually relying on some PADT blogs, and little did I know that a decade later I'd be sitting on the opposite side of the fence and telling people the same things that you guys were telling me back then.
It is a small world. Yeah, I'm so glad that you found value in those, and I'll put it in a plug for all of you on the call right now for PADT. We always need more blog articles. that's an inside joke for those listening because I'm always asking for more articles. Really been great having you part of the team. Sina.
Hi everyone, I'm Sina Gods. I'm a senior CFD application engineer at PADT. I'm with PADT for 4 years now and an Ansys user for 10, 15 years. And I was actually thinking about the best part of me being part of the Ansys world. As part of my graduate studies, I used to work on developing an academic in-house tool. So now as an application engineer, I kind of sit between the software developers and the end users. And it's amazing to see how a single tool, not a simple tool, it's flagship solver tools, a CFD solver tools like Fluent or CFX, but it's still a single tool can be used to develop so many different devices. So one of the fun parts of my job in pre-sales or discovery calls is that, okay, what do you want to do with a CFD solver? And the answers are amazing, like how different different devices a single tool can be used to develop.
Great. Yeah, I totally agree. And Sina has been a great resource for us with his on the CFD side of things is always been challenging for my brain. But you and Tom and everybody else that's been on our team on the CFD side, I want to thank you for putting up with my mechanical look at fluid flow. So Ted, you're next up.
Yeah, so this is Ted Harris. I've been with PADT for 22 years and worked for an aerospace company for about 12 years before that. Currently, I head up our engineering support team for Ansys products and also Flonex here at PADT. I guess my thoughts when I first started on Ansys, it was version 4.3. Like Joe, I've been able to build an entire career involving Ansys products. And I realized when I started, Ansys was in its second decade of existence. Now, it was toward the end of that second decade. Don't want to date myself too badly, but Ansys is now in its sixth decade. So, and when I first started, we were just calculating things like deflection, stress, strain, modal analyses, maybe a little thermal. And now Ansys truly encompasses many physics and multi-physics, as well as systems and a whole bunch of other tools. And another thing that strikes me looking back is meshing used to take forever. Yeah. Meshing was the largest amount of time spent in building a model and obtaining results. Literally, it was weeks or months to get a mesh. And now it's seconds, minutes, or at most hours. And, I guess the other thing, in addition to all the great people that I've worked with and continue to work with over the years, both as colleagues and customers and partners with us with Ansys products, is just the ability to work on things that fly, things that make energy, things involved in automotive safety, things that go into space, and all sorts of other things, either, projects I've worked on directly or been involved in with our customers.
Yeah, so true. So true. Yeah, you bring up a good point. We've come a long way technology-wise. It's much easier to use these days and much more powerful. And so true, so true. So just now, we are lucky enough to be joined by Dan Christensen. He's traveling and found a quiet spot in the airport. And Dan, what we're doing is going around the room and having people just introduce themselves and what they do at PADT, and then share with us something that they have enjoyed about being part of the Ansys world.
Oh man, I'd say quietish spot I found. But yeah, I'm Dan. So I've been at PADT a few years now, in a sales role, account management, and honestly, it's been amazing to just see how our users get success from our software, and just the advantages that they gain in the market, and as things evolve, the edges that they create for their own company. It's been really cool.
Yeah. Well, we've enjoyed having you be part of that journey as well, and helping us grow usage around the country. And Dan is, amongst other things, is our sales rep for the FlowNext product as well as for Ansys, and is out there, been the evangelist for that tool for some time now, and really appreciate it. All right, back to my alphabetical list brings us to Tom Chadwick.
Hello, all. My name is Tom Chadwick. I've been using CFD now for 30 plus years. Funny anecdote, when I first started working as an engineer, I was working on a hypersonics program. And 3 months into it, I was sitting in a meeting with a bunch of very smart NASA engineers and my mentor and a few other people. And I leaned over to my mentor and I said, "What does CFD mean?" Because I'd gotten into it from a mechanical engineering background and been working on this and had no idea what the acronym meant. And so he leaned back over to me and he said, "It's what you do." And I went, "Oh, okay." I've always loved engineering and love the role here at PADT because you get exposed to so many different applications, ways of using the software. And the thing I've always loved about CFD is it's almost in the artistry of the solutions. When you look at the flow solution, or you look at a stress solution, and it's just elegant. I mean, you're starting from a basic equation to model flow or model stress, whatever. But the solution that you end up with is almost beautiful from an art standpoint. Yeah. It's always amazed me. And it's one of the things I've always loved about engineering and working on analysis.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, and I'm glad you brought it up. It reminds me, a couple months ago, I was reading a book that had images from Leonardo da Vinci, and he did a whole series of what we now know is turbulence around some rocks and things in a river. And that's just exactly what you're talking about, right? And it was beautiful when you drew it, and it's amazing when it's on your screen and animated and real, right? So I totally agree with that. And last, the good news is my partner Ward. His last name starts with a W, so he gets to be the bookend on this. So Ward, what do you have to add?
Okay, I'm Ward Rand. I'm a principal and co-owner of PADT along with Eric. So by definition, that makes it 27 plus years of doing this, as long as PADT has been in existence. My responsibilities, along with corporate duties, are running the reselling business of PADT, the things that we resell and support, sales and support there, along with everyone on this call who helps accomplish that goal. I think the thing I've enjoyed most over the years is just from large and small, the American companies that we have sold to and serviced over the years, from small to marquee businesses, government labs, government agencies, just demystifying some folks, demystifying some of what these big entities have done, seeing it from the inside, meeting people at the highest levels at these corporations. That's been a truly wild ride, and I think Eric would join me in saying that that's probably the favorite thing of ours of being part of PADT and of course the Ansys business.
Yeah, it's been one of those wonderful things of sitting in a meeting room discussing some stuff that's pretty important with some people that are pretty important, and it's been wonderful learning from them as well. I totally agree. Well, that's the folks that could make it today. There's about another 10 people in the organization that couldn't make it today, so I want to thank them for being part of our journey, and then also all the former. There's probably just as many folks who we have relatively low turnover, but not everybody stays their whole career. So we've got quite a few people, hopefully some who are listening. We want to thank you for being part of this journey, and I'll finish up by where I'll always like to, thanking Dr. John Swanson once again for being the guy who came up with this tool that has grown into this hopefully soon $2 billion a year revenue company that really has changed the way engineering is done. And for everybody on this side of the microphone, has changed our lives in a positive way by being part of our career and part of our life. So I want to thank all you guys for taking the time today to share your thoughts on this. And we'll have all of you so this is episode number 100. And as we work our way to episode number 200, hopefully we'll have some of you folks on again to talk about all your areas of expertise and interest. So I want to thank everybody. I want to send a big thanks to everybody that was able to make it to the podcast. And hopefully at episode 200, maybe we'll get the rest. Hopefully it'll give you all out there in listener land a better view as to who PADT is and how much we like Ansys. Also, they were not able to make it, but I want to give a shout out to our administrative and operations team for Ansys sales and support. So if you're one of our Ansys customers, these are the people that really play an important role. Catherine Pesta heads up that whole team. Trevor, who we mentioned before, is in charge of marketing and, as mentioned before, producing this podcast. Kara Rubinoff is the person that takes care of all the paperwork, making sure that everything is entered into both the Ansys and PADT systems. Carm Palmer is the events person and helps Kara, Trevor, and Catherine in a dozen different ways. And last but not least, we have Alon Mumbere. He is our contracts person and legal counselor. He dots the I's and crosses the T's. And I cannot say it strongly enough, but without them, nothing would get done here at PADT. So we really appreciate everything they do to help us be the elite channel partner with Ansys that we are. So for today's commercial, I'd like to simply say the best way to show your appreciation for the PADT podcast is to consider PADT as your source for Ansys if you're in the Southwest US, or to count on us for your custom training, one-on-one Ansys mentoring, and of course, outsourcing any overflow simulation to PADT. We're here to help. And I'm going to go ahead and skip news and stocks and articles worth reading today. We can catch up on that in episode 101. Instead, I want to simply thank all of you, our loyal listeners, for taking the time to be part of not only our podcast journey, but our greater Ansys journey as well. And last but not least, a huge thanks to all of our guests over the past 100 episodes. Without you, well, it would just be me babbling on, and even I don't want to listen to that. You keep it interesting, informative, entertaining. So I want to thank all of our guests over the years very, very much. And that's it for 100 episodes of the All Things Ansys podcast. Don't forget to subscribe at www.padt.com/opt-in to get our newsletter. Spread the word so everybody knows what's going on and knows about the podcast. And please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you for joining us for the All Things Ansys podcast, episode 100. As a reminder, the podcast is not affiliated in any way with Ansys Inc., and the opinions expressed are those of the people on the show only, and not of their current or former employers. For more information, visit www.padtinc.com/blog, and please share your thoughts and questions through an email to podcast@padtinc.com. See you next time.